Hello, everyone. Ex-Walk Hill Bethelite here. As a Jehovah's Witness, we're not taught to have any kind of ambition, any kind of dreams or major goals. Really, you have to wait until what they call the end of this system to start thinking about the things that you like to do. If you like a nice house, well, you need to wait until Armageddon happens, and then you can pick out the house that someone died in or around, and then you have a nice house. So the more you think about it, the more Watchtower and being part of that organization can take away your drive, take away some of the things that are paramount in a person's will to live, like their family. So if a person has held back in their career, because Watchtower doesn't encourage that, a person has neglected themselves as far as maybe relationship needs, because Watchtower is telling you only marry a Jehovah's Witness. And if you can't find one, then just hold out to the new system. If you are neglecting all your needs as a Jehovah's Witness, sometimes when a person wakes up from that, they end up losing more family, friends, and then they're stuck trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do. They may just be starting college for the first time. A person can be in their 40s. It's obviously never too late, but a person can be in their 40s or 50s, and because they're just leaving Watchtower, well, they're just starting college for the first time, just starting to think about what they want to do in life. That's a process, and sometimes during the course of that process, a person can feel depression. A number of things in regards to Jehovah's Witnesses and neglecting yourself can lead to depression. Being repressed can lead to depression. What can you do in that situation? Well, if you are feeling feelings of loss of the will to live, if you're feeling like things are bad and you don't see anything good over the horizon, if you're feeling like you're in so much pain because your family members, your friends, they won't talk to you, they're actively shunning you, they won't let you see your nephew or your niece, or your ex is trying to keep you from seeing your kids. Those are all things that Jehovah's Witnesses do to people that cause ones to feel extreme psychological pain. Well, when a person gets into a situation where they no longer feel like they have that energy, that drive to be able to fight through things on their own, that's when it's time to receive help. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a person feeling so much pain, for example, in their leg or in their arm, that they say, hey, I'm going to the doctor. There's something wrong here. I feel a lot of pain in my knee or my leg or somewhere on their body. Absolutely nothing wrong at all when a person physically feels so much pain that they can't reasonably carry on their day without seeing a doctor to find out what's going on and get it fixed. The same is true with psychological pain, the psychological pain that this organization puts on people. There is a suicide hotline, and I know sometimes we may feel like, oh, it's not that serious, or we don't want to be a bother to people. That's another thing. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught really to put the organization and others ahead of yourself. You're so used to being on the bottom of the totem pole. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, everything else is more important to you. You're so used to being at the bottom of the totem pole that when you are feeling serious psychological pain, you may feel like you don't want to cry out for help, when you should. So, me personally, if I see anyone that seems like they may need some assistance, I will get on the phone with the hotline for you, the national hotline. There's hotlines, I'm sure, in every city, and then there's a national hotline where there are people that are trained to talk to ones and to get them the assistance that they need, just like we would physically, psychologically. If something's ailing us, robbing us of our will to live, then we may need to get immediate assistance with that also. So again, 937-789-4029. Anyone feeling like that will to live is going away. We don't want to wait until it gets really bad. If a person starts to feel symptoms of something that serious, it would be better to go ahead and take action. We don't want to wait until the depression gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And then the person doesn't feel like they have the energy or the will to even reach out for help or assistance. So, of course, I'm not trained. Sometimes a person, all they need is someone to listen to them. Sometimes a person, all they need is to know that they're not alone. Sometimes a person just needs a little bit to get through the next day, and then they start feeling better and everything's okay. So, while I'm more than willing to talk to people and share experiences, I'm definitely not trained to deal with serious situations. But what I will do is, if a person is embarrassed about calling some of the resources that's available, I'll get on the phone with them and I'll call. We'll have it on a three-way. I'll call that resource. And upon a person talking to the resources, seeing that hotline is not that bad, it's really okay with me on the phone, then that person will feel at ease calling that resource, that hotline, with me not on the phone. And someone very intelligent brought something to my attention not too long ago, that we have to be careful when we are in situations where we kind of feel desperate and a need to reach out to someone, that, there's plenty of people to talk to in the XJW community. Of course, we have to be careful if we're in a relationship and, things can, I've heard of situations that have occurred where a person befriends someone that's in the XJW community. They're not trying to do anything wrong, but it could be a person that's married, a person in a relationship, and they start talking to the same guy, over and over and over again, hours and hours and hours. And the next thing you know, one thing can lead to another. So we don't want anything like that to happen. For the way I see it, a person in need of help, whether they're male or female, I don't see anything wrong with a one-time three-way call, just to make sure they called the hotline. I'll call it on three-way. Make sure they're talking to the person and they feel comfortable with that situation, and then the person from the hotline, the person that's trained to take care of people, can then take over, and then I step away. So in that instance, that helps eliminate even the danger of a person feeling uncomfortable. They're in a relationship. They don't want to reach out for help. They may be married. They don't want to do anything inappropriate, which is good. In a situation that serious, we still have to do something. So for me, what I would do in that situation is, again, three-way. The person's on the phone. Hello, are you there? Okay, one moment. Call the hotline, get the other person on the phone, explain the situation a little bit. The two start talking, and then I can facilitate me backing out of the situation, because it's not just about, sometimes there's women that need help and we don't want to be inappropriate as men in the XJW community with those women. It's not just that, it's also I'm not trained. And recognizing that I'm not trained to deal with situations like that, and putting people in the best situation to receive the help that they need. And then also, too, once a person gets going after being out of that organization and possibly taking up a subject that they enjoy in school, they may go back to school. They may find something that they enjoy as far as a career. And that may drive that will to live. They may go from that to hobbies that they enjoy. Maybe art. Start learning about themselves, because as a Jehovah's Witness, you emptied yourself so that you can focus on knocking on doors, field service. You emptied yourself so that you can focus on making other people happy instead of yourself. So there's nothing wrong with making yourself a priority. You don't want to be the bottom of the totem pole as far as priorities, as far as importance. Everybody's important. It's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to say, hey, I'm not feeling well. Marcus, let's call that hotline. We're on the phone with them. Normally, I'm in Texas time. Normally, I am, as of right now, probably for the next few weeks, normally I'm up pretty early, like 4:30 a.m. I'm up pretty early. So it's not too early, in the morning. If something like that happens and it's 4 a.m., 4:30, I'm up around that time anyway. Let's discuss it. There's resources, of course, on Facebook, and I'm sure other places online, because there are people in the XJW community who have made groups for everything you could imagine. There's groups on Facebook and other places for anything you can imagine. But as far as me, what I will do in that situation, anytime I see anything where a person may need some help. You know, if they're bleeding, I'm taking them to the doctor. If it's psychological, that doesn't make it any less important. We're calling the hotline. No questions. We'll call the hotline. Then if everything's fine, then everything's fine. But it's important to just go ahead and take that action to make sure everything is on the up and up. So, ex-Wallkill Bethelite here. We'll get back to talking about tight pants, Tony. I took a video down, and the reason for that is I was getting conflicting information, and I'm not in the military. I haven't been in the military, and I know how I feel when, you know, I've spent years at Bethel, and someone who's never been at Bethel is saying things that don't make any sense. So I don't want to do that with regards to military matters. We're doing research on it right now. I think there's people that have already done research on it. So I want to see for myself about tight pants, but that's different subject for a different time. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite signing out.